Good morning, everyone, and welcome to People's Church. Whether this is your first time at People's Church or you come every Sunday or anywhere in between, I welcome you. My name is John McClellan, and I'm from the Sunday Services Committee. People's Church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of a tradition of liberal religion. Here, our mission is to be a beloved community, embracing and serving our diverse world. This morning's reflection comes from Connie Ferguson and Denise Hartsough. Connie tells a story of when she and Steve moved to Manhattan, Kansas in 1971 for Steve's postdoc at Kansas State. She wanted to connect with people and became part of three groups: Physics Wives, wonder if that even exists anymore, the Unitarian Fellowship, and the League of Women Voters. She found about 5 people in each place with whom she felt she had some interests and values in common. It was a small city, though, so it turned out to be the same 5 women in each group. Denise's mother became active in the League of Women Voters after Denise went off to college. Denise's impression was that League members were the highly engaged, dedicated, thinking women of the community. When Denise had her daughter, Laura, she asked her mom if she should join the League, even if she could not volunteer. Her mom said, "Yes, numbers matter." When Laura was in high school, Denise started volunteering for the League. 14 years later, the League is now Denise's full-time volunteer job. Our summer services are more personal. Each week this summer, a speaker will reflect on the theme of living our values. After the reflection, we will have discussion in small groups on the questions listed in the order of service. Those of you joining us on Zoom will be separated into breakout rooms, and then we'll come back together for the closing words. Welcome, everyone.
Find a comfortable position, whether standing or seating, and join us in song if you choose. Love Will Guide Us, 131. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak in with thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Those of you on Zoom are invited to type into the chat while chalice is lit in and then wherever you are. A lantern with moon and star shapes, casting light onto dark walls. We ignite this flame, symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, warm our hearts with love, and give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action. From Zoom, we have a chalice lit in Parkview Hills, in the Millwood neighborhood, and in Borges Hospital in Kalamazoo. The words for this morning's offering come from John Saxon. This religious community exists by its mission as a fire exists by burning. But a fire cannot burn without fuel. And it is the time, the energy, the imagination, the vision, the creativity, the compassion, the love, and the financial support of the members and friends of this community that fuels our mission to nurture and sustain a welcoming, inclusive, and diverse liberal religious community that transforms lives and serves the world. Your support, the free and generous support of each and every member and friend of this community, is what fuels this community and its mission. Without your support, the flame of justice, community, and love cannot burn brightly to warm ourselves and be a beacon in a world threatened by division and fear. The offering will now be received. Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. You can find the words in the order of service or on the screen. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love which none of us can accomplish alone.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
The League of Women Voters, the mission of the League of Women Voters. Can you hear yet? Oh, is it on? Are we good? All right. Try again? We're good. Okay. The League of Women Voters mission, empowering voters, defending democracy. The vision, we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The value, we believe in the power of women to create a more perfect democracy. The official description, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan grassroots nonprofit dedicated to empowering everyone to fully participate in our democracy. With active leagues in all 50 states and more than 750 leagues across the country, we engage in advocacy, education, litigation, and organizing to protect every American's freedom to vote. Founded in 1920, the League was a merger of the National Council of Women Voters and the National American Women's Suffrage Association. Referred to as a mighty political experiment, it aimed to help newly enfranchised women exercise their right to vote. Today, the League has expanded its vision of a more inclusive democracy where all Americans, regardless of gender, sex, race, ability, or party, can see themselves represented in our government. To build this vision, we bring an anti-racist, social justice lens to the issues of expanding voter access, fighting voter suppression, money in politics, redistricting, and safe and fair elections. Additionally, we promote social and economic justice through the lenses of healthcare, the environment, immigration reform, and the census.
The League of Women Voters has two core policies that express its values. One, a nonpartisan policy. The League shall not support or oppose any political party or any candidate. Two, diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. Discrimination or harassment of any kind will not be accepted within the League, including but not limited to race, socioeconomic status, age, ability status, religion, sexual orientation, national origin, gender identity, or marital status. The League is committed to fostering, cultivating, and preserving a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and belonging for all people. The League is an organization that respects and values the richness of our community and our members. The collective sum of our individual differences and the experiences represents not only our culture, but our reputation and the organization's mission and achievements as well.
Thank you to League member Tom Hackley. Those of you who were at Reverend Rachel's service last week might notice a continuation of a theme. She talked about the importance of her work within organizations to living her values. And Denise and I have a similar story to tell. I definitely did not come from a family of activists or joiners, although I certainly was raised with a basic set of values that I still hold today. When I got to college, I found myself joining with others to try to change the small things that felt unfair. And later, I expanded my scope to broader issues. A few years later, I went with a neighbor to a League of Women Voters meeting. I felt I'd found my people. And I've been a member for over 50 years now, which maybe speaks to my age as much to anything as to anything else, but most of that time that has been in Kalamazoo. And this has helped me know how things happen here, as well as in our state and nation, and even internationally. I've also learned a lot about who's in charge of what. I've been able to work on a variety of issues over the years, particularly in the environmental area, using information provided through the League and joining in coalitions with other groups. This whole approach fits me in a number of important ways. First, I feel most effective when working with a small group of people where we share ideas and develop plans that are better than any of us could come up with on our own. Second, it's important for me to do something, even something small, and not just complain or despair about the state of the world. Somehow this piece, it feels particularly relevant right now. Third, I understand that things are interrelated, that resources are finite, so that what's used to address one thing may not be available to take care of something else. And being part of a multi-issue organization has helped me understand this. And fourth, while I may protest and try to change the rules, I generally follow them. I think this is how we can live together in our sometimes crowded and always changing world. Looking at my personal values, along with the UU principles and values, I can see many intersections with the League work. Our efforts in voter education and registration relate to the inherent dignity and worth of every person, and to justice and equality, to search for truth and the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process. League has been active on environmental concerns for 50 or 60 years, maybe longer, often working in coalition with other organizations whose primary work is in that field. The first thing I did in League was to serve on my local Manhattan, Kansas League's Water Quality Study Committee when we were developing our national consensus statement about 1970. I had done my master's degree in a related field, so that even as a new member, I was able to make a significant contribution. And just a couple of months after we arrived in Kalamazoo, the League here suddenly needed to replace their natural resources director on the board. Guess what? Here I was. Several years later, I found myself in the same role at the state board. Specific areas of emphasis, of course, have changed over time, but have included the Great Lakes, nuclear waste, air quality, energy conservation, and a whole lot of other topics. For the past few years, the League's environmental emphasis has been on climate change. This whole aspect of League work fits right in with the UU principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence, and has an eye on justice as well. So there are many more examples, but my point is that I've been able to find an organization to serve as the home base for my style of activism, and that includes several areas where I have a strong interest and some expertise. I've met great people. We encourage each other to keep at it. And since I'm not always a self-starter, it's helpful to have somebody point out somewhere where maybe I could make a difference. My involvement has also given me many opportunities to participate in events and meet local and state officials and activists. I've done everything from stuffing envelopes to testifying at a legislative committee. There's been lots of training along the way, and what I've learned has carried over into other aspects of my life. Each organization has its own culture. I've been lucky enough to find one that fits me, and I hope you have too, or that you soon will. Thank you. Okay.
Good morning. It's working now, right? Okay. So how the League of Women Voters works is an expression of my values. I'm going to focus my remarks on the process aspects of the League. First, I'd like to ground my comments in a Unitarian Universalist foundation. The updated language for Article 2 of the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association includes the following phrases: inclusive democratic process, with reverence and humility, learn from one another, relationship of interdependence and mutuality. Throughout my life, I have felt most alive when engaged in collective action. My understanding of collective incorporates the qualities of Article 2 that I just mentioned. To me, working collectively means that members of the group approach one another with respect and humility. Group members assume we each bring something to the shared effort, that we all need each other, that we all learn from one another, and that everyone gives what they can as we strive to achieve our common purpose. Leadership is shared and changeable. Collective action can be part of everyday life. Credit unions and co-ops come to mind. I've belonged to credit unions since childhood. Members pool their resources to help one another, not to make a profit for shareholders. Since college, I've belonged to food co-ops. Members share money and sometimes labor to obtain food cooperatively, not to profit a company. I have had the most fun at the co-ops with a work requirement. I got to break down large blocks of cheese in St. Louis, rotate the stock in Bloomington, Indiana, and collapse cardboard boxes for recycling in Madison, Wisconsin. Or collective action can focus on a specific project. In the early 1970s, my UU church had an LRY youth group. LRY stood for Liberal Religious Youth. As part of LRY, I helped plan and pull off a totally youth-led weekend gathering of UU youth from around the Midwest. In the 1980s, I was in graduate school and a proud member of my labor union, the Teaching Assistants Association, Local 3220 of the American Federation of Teachers. It took all of the 7 years I was in graduate school, but we finally won our campaign to force the university to bargain with our union. Fast forward. For the past 15 years, the League of Women Voters is where I've been practicing collective action. I'd like to highlight 3 features of the League's process. 1, the League promotes everyone's participation. We are a grassroots organization. 2, the League is engaged in ongoing learning around diversity, equity, and inclusion. 3, the League uses forms of collective decision-making, consensus in small groups, and what I would call extreme democracy in large settings. First, I'd like to talk about the grassroots character of the League. That is what distinguishes it from other pro-democracy organizations. Local members register voters and offer education about voting rights and the voting process. League members obtain responses from candidates for the Vote 411 voter guide. They hold candidate forums, and they decide when to take a stance on local proposals. League volunteers observe public meetings, observe at the polls, and monitor the certification of elections by the County Board of Canvassers. At the local level, we know and help our city and township clerks. We know and talk with our elected officials. Second, in the League at all levels, we are working hard on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are increasing our cultural competency by educating ourselves and partnering with other organizations. Here in Kalamazoo, we are learning and extending our reach by partnering with ISAC, the NAACP, El Concilio, WMU's We Vote, the Disability Network of Southwest Michigan, and others. Third, the League uses both consensus and voting when formulating a position on a public policy issue. The League studies the issue thoroughly. League members consider the research, talk through the pros and cons, and then use a consensus process to determine a proposed position. The proposed position then goes to the membership for a vote. This is at the local and state levels, where groups are relatively small. At the League's large national conventions, we practice what I would call careful democracy. Others might label it an excruciatingly conscientious process. It is excruciating. It takes a long time, but it allows ideas to bubble up from the base of the organization. At national conventions over the past 6 years, I have seen an issue go from being treated as a distraction to taking the spotlight on the national agenda. The League's process fits my values well. Its strength is at the grassroots, it recognizes the imperative to work toward diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it fosters thoughtful participation by all in decision-making. I'm happy to be living my values with the League.
Okay, here we go. Now we've come to your part of the service. We're offering a couple of questions for small group sharing and listening. These are also in your order of service and are displayed on the screen. The first question, when have you felt part of a collective? And what made it feel collective? And the second one, when working for social justice or civic improvement, how do you maintain your motivation when progress may feel so very slow? So please form small groups of 3 to 6 people by turning your chairs around. Try to talk with some people you don't know very well yet. People on Zoom will be invited to join breakout rooms. We'll spend 15 or 20 minutes on this before coming together for our closing. So I hope you'll have an interesting discussion and get to know each other better. Here we go.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and near. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine. Go in peace.
As we prepare to depart, we give voice to these hopes. May we know ourselves bound in community, even while we are apart. May a passion for justice burn in our lives. May we carry the light of compassion in our hearts and in our every interaction. May we be whole in our devotion to truth and always carry the lamp of peace before us. Go in peace.